Welcome everyone to Planet of NY Sports. Here we talk Yankees, Mets, Giants, Jets, and a little bit of the Knicks and Nets. So you guys see the title. So the Jets, we obviously know Zach Wilson, nope. Mike White, nope. The Jets are going to be looking for a QB. We have three big quarterbacks that we are going to be talking about today. Real quick here, and I know you guys see the green screen. I'm in a different room, so don't mind that. But anyways, let's get started here, right into it. First, let's go with Lamar Jackson. Jayden, take it away.
Well, Lamar Jackson, everybody's saying that he wants to get out of Baltimore. They're not paying him enough money guaranteed. So he is up there for talks becoming the new Jets quarterback. The thing about Lamar Jackson, he hasn't really been that productive in yards. The last time he was really good in yards was 2019. This year he had an injury. He was injury prone. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see what's going to happen with him. I do know Baltimore does want to keep him. He is like their franchise quarterback. I don't think they're going to give him away that easily. They'll definitely come out with something to pay him, but it's very realistic. The Jets do need a quarterback. Right now, they're not even in a rebuilding stage. They have every piece they need. They just need that one quarterback, and that's it. So Lamar Jackson, he would fit in the offense a little bit. They're more of a pass run offense, but they're more run heavy. So they can change it. He can do both. So it should be very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, with Lamar, it's a bit of a tricky situation with Lamar. When you look at Lamar, we obviously you point first to like the agency issues and the fact that he doesn't have an agent and his mom is representing him right now, which I think is very tough because right now the contract situation between him and the Ravens, like nobody knows what's going on and whether or not he wants out or like this is going to be really weird. And he's not going to play under the franchise tag. I think we all know that, even though the Ravens might put it on him if they don't come to an agreement. So it's going to be interesting to see. He's not going to play under that franchise tag, but I feel like him personally, I feel like he really needs an agent in this situation because that way you can have your agent, for this type of situation to request a trade potentially or try to get you more money. Right now, Lamar's in a bit of a tricky spot. And can he come to the Jets? Yeah, I mean, maybe. But the thing about Lamar is just like you brought up, he's been injury prone. He was injury prone this year, and he was injury prone the year before. Like the last two seasons, he's been kind of injury prone. I look at that. Sure, he did have the MVP season, but I don't know, man. It's just tough when you look at he didn't play basically most of the second half. He didn't play in the playoffs for the Ravens this year, and then you look at last year, didn't really play, and then they eventually fell out of first place, and we saw the Bengals go to the Super Bowl the year before. So it's a bit of a tricky spot here with Lamar. The way that the way your offense is structured, you would like you got to have your offense a certain way. That's why I think Lamar and the Ravens should probably stay together. That's what I think they're just a match made in heaven because when you look at the Ravens offense too, it's just so centered around Lamar and a quarterback like that. And like when you look at all of the other offenses around the league, it's not really like that. And so, I mean, the Jets, it'll be really interesting to see what Lamar, does after this offseason. I think he probably will request a trade if, he gets franchise tagged and they don't give him, an extension. But can the Jets afford to wait? We don't know yet. So, real quick here, let's go to a quarterback that is now in free agency, and that is Derek Carr. All right, this is a bit of an interesting one. Jayden, go ahead.
Derek Carr, not a bad quarterback. He hasn't won a playoff game yet. He's been in one playoff game, as you see the stats up on the board. His last good year, or his best year, I would say, in yards was 2021 in passing yards. Now, if you look at this year, he didn't do that good. In the years before that, he was okay. He was he's a board. He was like around 4,000 to 3,000, so he wasn't doing that bad. But looking at Derek Carr, he's kind of getting up there in age. He is a little bit old. He's been in the lead for a while, but he's very smart. The only thing I would have an issue with is that how long is he going to be playing for? That's one of those big issues there because he's getting up there in age, as I just said. So is he going to be playing for like 5 years, 6 years, 4 year deal? What's the deal with him? Second thing is, does he fit this offense? does he really fit this offense? I mean, you look at Zach Wilson; he's able to move in the pocket a little bit and get the ball out. Same with Mike White. So is he going to be able to do the same thing at his age and in the structure of the offense? I mean, they do run the ball a lot. He is going to be used to that, like how he was in Las Vegas. But it's going to be very interesting to see if he does sign there. What are they going to do? Are they going to switch the offense around a little bit, make it more of his offense, or are they going to keep it the same way?
Yeah. I think they'll keep it the same way because I don't think, they're like, sure, their quarterbacks did move a little. Mike White didn't really move as much. And, like, so I think they'll be okay on that front. And when you look at Derek Carr here, it's like, a lot of Jet fans are debating this, like with Derek Carr, because, like you brought up, the guy has not won a playoff game.
Hmm.
He's not that guy. But the thing about Derek Carr is he's like the safe option. Like let's say you're a guy. I'm gonna allude to this here. You're a guy. You have like two girls that you may like. There's the one like the safe bet, or there's the crazy one. But and you may that's like the wild card option. Like so. It's a really tricky spot here, and that's what it is like with the next guy that we're going to talk about too with Rodgers and Carr. That's basically what it's like right now. It's like, okay, we can go with the safe bet, you know, it's probably not going to do too much, or you can go with the really, really risky bet that can pay off or can fail miserably and be very toxic. So it's going to be very interesting to see. Now, with Carr, like I said, no playoff wins, last year, and we saw what happened with the interceptions. I'm not going to really fault him too much for that. I think that, the coach, kind of used Carr as a scapegoat, in my opinion. But, anyways, Carr, I mean, when I look at him, the thing is with him, I don't know if he's going to handle New York. The guy was crying in Vegas. The guy, he was crying during press conference. You're not going to be able to do that here in New York. The media is going to tear you apart. And if you're gonna come in here, you're gonna start crying in the New York media. No, no, man, you can't do that here. So I don't know how he's going to handle New York. It'll be very interesting to see. But he's a very safe option for the Jets. You don't have to give up multiple first round picks for him. So you just have to pay the man, and so it'll be interesting to see. Now, last but certainly not least, the guy that was in a cave for a few days and just, in hibernation doing whatever. Aaron Rodgers. Jayden, go ahead.
Aaron Rodgers. When I look about this, with him going to the Jets, I think that it's very interesting move to make because he's really up there in age. I think he's what about 39 years old now. He's about to be 40. He's like that season like that Tom Brady mode. You know what I'm saying? This can't be another Tampa situation. The Jets have too many young players on that team, that squad, and they can't sit here and have an old quarterback who's going to come in and he's going to be 40 years old and he retires in a couple of years where he starts regressing. You need a quarterback that's a little bit younger. Carr's not up, he's getting up there in age, but he's a little bit younger, so I will go with Carr in this situation because if you look at Rodgers, you know what I'm saying, he's not a bad quarterback. He's just getting up there in age. And right now, with this kind of team and this kind of offense and defense, you have these young guys that are coming in and lead right now and they want to win. And they want to win for a lot of years. Rodgers is not here for all these years. He's going to be here for a couple of years. So that's not more of a realistic option for the Jets to do. I mean, yes, he's a great quarterback. He's won playoff games. He's won a Super Bowl. But let's look at the facts here. You have a young squad, and this squad is going to be around here for at least a decade or a couple more years than a decade. So depending on what happens here, you can make this Seattle situation w- win a Super Bowl and then not win another Super, or you can make this a Patrick Mahomes situation. Get a quarterback who's going to be there for more than just a couple of years and probably even more to a decade or so. So Rodgers, that's the big issue with him. Another thing is with Rodgers, he can't move in that pocket. Um, the offensive line for the Jets isn't bad. It's just not consistent, not very consistent offensive line. I mean, Makai Becton was hurt last year, so that really put a toll on their offensive line. But we'll see what happens this year. But if you do get Rodgers, how is he going to handle that pocket? How is he going to handle, being in there and taking these hits? Third thing is the media. He comes from Green Bay. He's played in Green Bay his whole career. How is he going to adjust to playing in New York with all this media on his back, asking about winning games and this and that, and going to the playoffs and that? So that's another interesting fact of Rodgers. He's like an MVP quarterback status. He's really nice, but how is he gonna adjust to New York? How is he gonna adjust to this offense? How is he gonna adjust to being in a new spot when he's been with this team his whole career? This could be another Tom Brady situation, but it's a little bit different because Rodgers is not used to all this different change up. He's used to the same guys.
Yeah. Okay. So the thing about with Rodgers here, this is going to be very tricky with Aaron Rodgers. I, for one, I'd be surprised if he decides to leave anyway, because I think he has so much control in Green Bay and stuff, and he knows that he can just sit. He's gonna do this all. He keeps doing this. Am I gonna stay? Oh, am I gonna leave? Oh, I'm gonna. Jayden, hold on for 1 minute. Just continue to talk about Aaron Rodgers. I just need to take care of something. Hold on.
Okay, so the, that's the thing. Russell was saying, is he going to leave or is he going to stay? Because at this point in his career, he's up there in age. Do you really want to leave and restart your career in a whole nother state, with a whole new team, with a whole new players and all this when you've been in the same place for all your career? Now that's a big part of him making a decision. So if he does make this decision, what ends up happening? What's really going to happen with his career? Is he going to be if he wins another Super Bowl? What's going to happen? If he doesn't win another Super Bowl, there's going to be a lot of speculation saying, okay, well, that wasn't a good move by the Jets, and he's a bust. He was a bust by picking him up in free agency. He's not that good. He's carried by this and that, but it should be really interesting to see that what happens with that. So we're just waiting here to see what the big move is for the Jets in general. To be honest.
Yeah. Okay. So as I was saying before I got interrupted, sorry everyone. But so the thing about Aaron Rodgers is, he's a wild card. He like the guy, you don't know what he's going to do. And like I said, he's been doing this talk of, should I stay or should I go? You don't know what the guy is going to do. You know, but then again, he always comes back and he's like, "Yeah, I'm staying." So that's why I don't really put too much stock into this. He's gonna go on the Pat McAfee show. He likes talking and talking and talking and talking. I feel like the guy just likes hearing himself talk. He's just. I don't know how he's gonna handle the media too. The way he acts and stuff, it would be very entertaining to see. I'd be entertained by it. But Rodgers, man, I mean, his resume it speaks for him. It speaks for itself. A lot of people say top 5 quarterback of all time. I mean, if that's your opinion, go ahead. But man, the guy has only won 1 Super Bowl. I'm going to say that. I don't care. He's only won 1. The NFC Championship losses, I'll bring that up. He's lost in a lot of big games lately, in his own building, on his own field. The guy lost to the Detroit Lions. All he had to do was win the game and you get into the playoffs. Didn't do that. So when I look at Rodgers here, and for what the Jets are probably going to have to give up, would I do it? No, I would not trade for Aaron Rodgers. I know, it may look good at first, but how many more years is Rodgers going to play? We don't know that yet. You may get at most what 2 more guaranteed years from Rodgers, 2 more guaranteed years, maybe. I'm not sure. Maybe even 1, because the guy may play, 1 year. He may not like it in New York and just decide to call it quits. You don't know with this guy. This guy is just, you've got to steer clear from Rodgers. I know some Jet fans are like, we should go all in, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you can do that. But for this guy and his weird personality going in caves, we saw the whole thing with the vaccine, whether if it's this, whether if it's, and hey, he has a young team too with him. He's, he has no patience. So like when the guys mess up, he's going to be having an attitude, playing the, it wasn't me game. The guy is just filled with excuses. I cannot take him. So that's my verdict on Aaron Rodgers. I think the Jets should steer clear. Now, Jayden, who do you pick for the Jets QB in 2023?
My honest pick is going to be between Derek Carr and Lamar Jackson. Even though Derek Carr is getting up there in age, he is going to be consistent for them. Lamar Jackson, he's definitely gonna be consistent. So the both of these guys are really good quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? They both could do a lot of things. They're both versatile. So let's see what happens. They've been in the league for a while. Both, I mean, one's an MVP. The other one just hasn't even won a playoff game. I don't think their car's never even been in an MVP talk. So I mean, which quarterback do you really want? Do you really want a guy who's won a playoff game, an MVP, or do you want a guy that's never won a playoff game or MVP or even a Heisman? Which guy is more better than you? Which one is more consistent? And that's what it really comes down to. And even though Lamar is injury prone, he is going to work his butt off. That's one thing about Lamar Jackson. He's definitely going to come in there and work his butt off. So let's see what happens with that. It's a lot of stuff going on in free agency right now in NFL, so let's see what happens.
Yeah. And in terms of handling the media, the best out of these three, and who I think would probably handle it the best is probably I would go with Lamar. Derek Carr, like I said, the guy was crying with the Raiders. I don't, and then you got Rodgers. I'm not even going to get into that. So, okay. If I had to pick one, though, this is tough. I'm obviously not going to go with this dude. I already expressed my feelings on him. I'm not going with Rodgers. Can I go with Lamar? Yeah, sure. But it's a bit tough, though. Injury prone, the offense a certain way, but he will work as, okay. But there's also the guy that hasn't won a playoff game, but is the safer option for the Jets. Okay, I think I'm going to go with Derek Carr. As much as that pains me to say, sorry, Jet fans, I don't think you're getting the big fish here. Rodgers, I don't think is coming here. I think it's very unrealistic, and if he does, you're going to have to give up picks, and I don't know if you want to do that for a guy who is an absolute wild card and who can wake up the next morning and choose to retire or just, disappear from the face of the earth and talk about conspiracy theories or whatever, why is the sky blue, whatever. I don't want to hear, no. There's also Lamar, though. Like I said before, the thing about him, he's been very injury prone, though. I would be wary of that. And, when is he going to break down with his style of play? That's going to be a question. With Derek Carr, you just have to give the man some money. You can still keep Zach Wilson as a backup and just let him, what he should have done originally is he should have sat behind a seasoned veteran. That way he can learn and not just throw him in there and look at him now. You can have Zach Wilson still be the backup and just maybe let him learn under Carr. We can go with an honorable mention, Jimmy G. I mean, if you want, the guy's been to a Super Bowl. He's won Super Bowls as a backup. So, if you want, you can do that. But I would go Derek Carr, even though you can say he's mediocre if you want. Yeah, I could probably tend to agree with that. But he's just the safer option here, and I feel like that's what the Jets should do. Because when you look at the other two, Lamar, it's going to cost a lot in terms of picks and stuff for the Jets, where they still have some holes that you would want to fix. And Rodgers, like I said, the guy, you don't know how much longer he's going to be playing for. So therefore, process of elimination, I'm just going to go Carr. Now, let's say Carr gets signed by Carolina or something. You're going to have a backup plan. So I think that's where you look at Jimmy G and Lamar Jackson. I am steering clear from Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he's coming here anyway, but I think you look at Jimmy G and Lamar as the backups, if you don't get Derek Carr. So, Jayden, if you had to pick one of these quarterbacks for the Jets, who would you choose? And then we'll end this.
This is going to be the hardest decision, but I am going Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
Even though he might be a little bit of injury prone, I do believe Lamar Jackson will come back out there and he's going to be fully healthy and ready to play. He's a very smart guy. In college, he was doubted. Going in the NFL draft, he was doubted. Coming into NFL, playing the game, he was still doubted his first season. So this guy he's been through a lot of stuff. So if he comes in next year to the New York Jets, whatever happens, if he gets released, or I doubt that would happen, but if he gets traded, whatever, to the Jets, it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens. He's one of those guys that you can use in the running game and in the passing game. He can throw the ball far, he can run, So, and you have Brees Hall coming back next year. So it should be very exciting to see if they do get him with that offense they have. Um, it's amazing to see because they have that receiving core. That receiving core is not bad either. Their tight ends aren't bad. The own line is going to be a little bit better. Makai Becton's coming back next year. So whatever happens, if he does come to New York, that offense might be very explosive.
Yeah. Okay. So we've made our choices. We have both steered clear of this dude. We are both in agreement there. Now, so if you can all do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you all in the next video.